What's up? What's up? What's up, everybody? Sorry for the delay. My Logitech, I use the Logitech camera, the Brio, right? Um, the app deleted from my computer somehow, so I can't even change the settings. So I was like, let me just go ahead and go vertical because it's still downloading and it's taking a long time. So I apologize for the delay. But we got a few things to get into, and we definitely gonna get into Trump because I don't think he can escape this. I don't think he can escape this. If he really gets past all these allegations about him being linked to Jeffrey Epstein, then he really is Teflon Don. But the Republicans are in disarray because, oh my God, why doesn't he want to release the files? Why does he want to release the files? What's going on? He's not going to release the files? Shawnee, why won't he release them files? Beautiful, why won't he release them files? Pretty Bot, how come he won't release them files? Veronica, why won't he release them files? I'll tell you why he won't release the files. No, he has the files. That's why he won't release the files. If he released the files, he got to release them on himself. Why won't he release the files? And it's so funny because you see like the Candace Owens and all these right wingers all like, oh, why won't he release the files? I mean, Bama, I think the clue is right there why he won't release the files. So we're going to play what he recently said, what he said before in the past. We're going to play all that because, I think a lot of people are being obtuse. And I don't think necessarily they're being obtuse for no reason. I think they know, it's coming to an end. The walls are closing in. So let's go ahead and play what he said originally when he was asked during the campaign. Hold on. Let me go back. Oh, let me take this picture down. I'm sorry, you guys. Share screen. Yo, they changed the way StreamYard look. Hold on, y'all. Now I'm confused what button I press. Okay, I got it. Here we go. And then let me take this picture down. No, don't delete it. Just take it down. Okay, here we go, y'all.
There's a lot of intrigue surrounding the release of the Epstein files, Martin Luther King files, John F. Kennedy files. Some current and former FBI agents are saying, some of them telling me, that they feel the FBI establishment came out ahead in the standoff sort of with the New York FBI field office over releasing the records and your Attorney General Pam Bondi demanding them but not getting all that she wanted. Is that process still on track? I think that's one of the most often questions I've been asked the last couple of days, to release these records on Epstein, MLK, and JFK.
Well, Pam Bondi's done a phenomenal job in every respect. And there could have been some holdback. I haven't heard too much about it, but they could. But the bottom line is the records are getting out. The Kennedy records are getting out. Those are the ones they really wanted to see the most, were the Kennedys. And during my administration, as you know, I released a lot of them. But then a lot of people started coming in, people that I respected, people that worked for the administration, asked me not to release the rest. And I respected that. They gave me certain reasons, but I respected that. And I did say, I must tell you, I said that probably wish I did release the whole thing because I have no idea what's in there. But since then they found, and we found 2,000 more documents on Kennedy. And
notice how he completely deflected to Kennedy. She didn't ask you about Kennedy. She asked you about the Epstein files. Why haven't you released the rest?
If you were president, would you declassify, you can answer yes or no to this. Yeah. Would you declassify the 9/11 files?
Yeah.
Would you declassify JFK files?
Yeah. I did a lot of it.
Would you declassify the Epstein files?
Yeah, I would.
All right.
I guess I would. I think that less so because, you don't know it. You don't want to affect people's lives if it's phony stuff in there because there's a lot of phony stuff with that whole world. But I think I would, or at least.
Do you think that would restore trust? Help restore trust?
Yeah, I don't know about Epstein so much as I do the others.
9/11, yeah.
I don't know about Epstein as much. And mind you, this one was before he became the president again. This is while he was running. So he let you know in the beginning, like he had pause about it. But remember, they did that whole thing when they invited a whole bunch of influencers to the White House and was all like, we got the files, and they had those binders. Mind you, that was stuff already released. That was stuff that was already released. That was nothing new that they had in the binders. But people were so thirsty and they thought, oh yeah, Trump, he's going to drain the swamp and he's going to expose all these people. No, he is the swamp. He is the elite. He is he's a billionaire. What part of him being a billionaire don't you understand? He is the elite. He is them. Now, I will say, whoever Trump PR people, he convinced these people that he was fighting for the common man. He was out there fighting for the people. Now, a lot of us, I know my chat, a lot of us weren't fooled by him. Maybe Miss Barbara, but a lot of us wasn't fooled by him. We knew that Trump was full of shit. Because again, do I have to remind you, Jeffrey Epstein died when Trump was in office, his first term. Jeffrey Epstein died in 2019. So everybody putting it on Obama, the Clintons, Joe Biden, he died literally when Trump was in office. Like, come on, people. Come on now. Okay. And shout out to Gold Girl. I wasn't gonna play that clip next, but hell, let's go ahead and get right into it with Don Lemon. Don Lemon had interviewed Michael Wolff. Now, Michael Wolff was the one who wrote the book about Trump in his first term, but also he had a close relationship with Jeffrey Epstein, and he has a whole bunch of recordings of Jeffrey Epstein talking about him and his relationship with Trump. So we're going to play Don Lemon's interview right now. Let me change it to theater mode. Okay, here we go.
Thanks for joining us, everyone. We're speaking to the author of the book, All or Nothing, How Trump Recaptured America, Mr. Michael Wolff. Michael, appreciate you joining. How you doing?
Of course, I'm great.
Yes,
How
hit
about
that
you?
like button.
I'm
Thank
doing
you.
very well. I saw something, you speaking of something that I found very fascinating, because we have the whole Jeffrey Epstein coming up, and now all of a sudden Donald Trump is like, I don't want to talk about Jeffrey Epstein. I don't know who he is. Why are you guys asking me questions about it? When he, in many ways ran on this. You were saying that there have been talks that Donald Trump actually wanted to have conversations or had conversations about possibly pardoning Ghislaine Maxwell?
Well, let me clarify. I know of a conversation in which, and this was at the moment of her conviction, shortly after, and he said, "What do you think she can say?" And then the aides around.
Now, why would he be worried about what Ghislaine could say? Why would you be tripping about that? If you ain't got nothing to worry about, what would you be worried about what she could say? Does it have anything to do with these pictures? Does it have anything to do with this? Would it have anything to do with that? I'm just asking for a friend. Let's continue.
Around him said, they didn't know, and they didn't want to go there because this is a no-go subject area. And then he said, should I pardon her? And equally, nobody wants him to pardon her, and nobody really wants to go there. So the conversation passed. That's what I know.
So then, okay, why is this a no-go conversation?
among the subjects that everybody knows that are that are problematic for Trump is Epstein. So once when I went to interview Epstein, this was in when I went down to Mar-a-Lago, and the aides say, they ask you for a sort of broad outline of what you want to talk about. And I probably had 10 subjects, among them Jeffrey Epstein. And the one Trump aide said, listen, if you bring up Epstein, he will stop the interview. So this person said, my advice is, if you want to speak to him, if you want this interview to go on, don't bring this up. And in fact, I did not bring it up, and we spoke for, several hours.
Why?
Well,
So he don't want to talk about Epstein? Why don't he want to talk about Epstein, y'all? I'm so confused. Why would you not want to talk about this man? This man right here. You don't want to talk about him? Why? Why? What's going on? Am I missing something? Let's continue.
And I have always, I think the question is the broader question is, how come Jeffrey Epstein has not been pinned on Donald Trump? Jeffrey Epstein has been pinned on a lot of people who have suffered for their acquaintance with him. Donald Trump's acquaintance was much broader and deeper than anyone else's. They were friends for more than a decade, and not just friends, but joined at the hip friends, best friends. They hunted women together, hunt being the right word. For about a year, they shared a girlfriend back and forth. They were constantly on each other's planes. They gave each other business advice. They were extraordinarily.
So we're just supposed to believe that they have no connection with each other. Like, there's no reason for Trump to be afraid. Trump is out there trying to help the American people. Trump is against pedophiles. Trump is against anyone doing things to children. Like, we're supposed to believe all this. And mind you, they were friends. Best friends. And the only reason why they had a falling out was over a business proposal. That's the only reason why they had a falling out. It wasn't because Jeffrey Epstein was a freak. No. It was because of a business proposal they had a falling out. So I just wanted to reiterate that.
Close. And then ultimately they fell out in 2004 over a real estate deal. But somehow Trump, as he avoids accountability for virtually everything, has avoided this. He's avoided being pinned as one of the central relationships in the life of Jeffrey Epstein.
Do you think obviously, I guess he's told people, I don't want to talk about this in interviews. So if he doesn't want to talk about it in interviews, I'm wondering why he brings it up in private. But do you understand what I'm saying? People would, this is what someone would surmise, is that if they were friends for as long as you said that they were. I didn't know that Jeffrey Epstein, am I correct, said that Donald Trump was his best friend? Or one of his best friends?
Yes.
Yeah, correct. Then one, he's afraid to talk about it. And then two, why would he want to pardon Ghislaine?
Well, as we know, he hasn't pardoned her, but I think at the moment that came up. I mean, a broader context, Donald Trump views his pardon authority as absolute. I can pardon anyone, anytime. So this is Ghislaine Maxwell is not the only person he has mused about pardoning. So I mean, we can make the connection through.
I feel like Ghislaine I feel like she does need a pardon, because if there is no list, right? No Epstein list, no nothing, then what is she in jail for? Hello? Hello? What is Ghislaine in jail for? If there is no list, no nothing, what is she in jail for? Who did they traffic these women to? Or not women, girls. Who did they traffic these girls to if there was no, client lists or anything? Who? Why is she in jail? Funny how the woman always goes down, but the men get off. Oh, I never even thought about it like that, Shawnee. I feel like she's guilty, but free her, because this isn't it. Listen, get her out of jail. Have Bill Clinton or Bill Gates have answer to anything? I don't think they have to answer to anything. And here's the thing. Let me get you right. Namaste. Namaste. Here's my thing. If Bill Gates and Bill Clinton need to go down, that is perfectly fine. But what about Trump? He's in office. Why doesn't Trump have to answer to anything? Why doesn't he have to answer to this? Why doesn't he have to answer to this? There's no client list, no nothing happened, nothing to see, nothing going on. The Dems never ran on releasing the Epstein files. But namaste, don't forget, Jeffrey Epstein died in 2019. Who was the president in 2019? Namaste. Namaste. Who was the president in 2019? Donald Trump. So why didn't Donald Trump get to the bottom of it? Hello? Hello? Why didn't Donald Trump get to the bottom of it when he was in office originally? And now that he's back in office, he's all like, "Oh, I don't want to say anybody's name who might not been on the." Wait, you don't want to say nobody's name now? Now? Really? All of a sudden now you don't want to say a name? Hold on, because let me pull this back up.
If you were president, would you declassify? You can answer yes or no to this.
Yeah.
Would you declassify the 9/11 files?
Yeah.
Would you declassify JFK files?
Yeah.
Would you?
I did a lot of it.
Would you declassify the Epstein files?
Yeah. I would.
All right.
I guess I would. I think that less so, because, you don't know it. You don't want to affect people's lives if it's phony stuff in there, because there's a lot of phony stuff with that whole world. But I think I would, or at least.
Do you think that would restore trust? Help restore trust?
Yeah, I don't know about Epstein so much as I do the others.
9/11, yeah. JFK, I'm with you. Jeffrey Epstein, yeah. Well, why would Donald Trump be so circumspect about
there might be names in it, you don't want to, your name. That's the name you worried about. Because let's say this, if Bill Clinton, Bill Gates, Obama, Hillary, Bill, all this shit, if they were in it, do we think that he would be protecting Hillary, Obama, Bill Gates, Biden? Do we think that he would be protecting them if they were listed all throughout this? Who else is on there to where he's worried about putting out the names? Who else is on there? I'm just asking the questions. Who else is on there? I'm just wondering who else's name was on there. Is it possible there could be another president name who was on that list? One that's currently in office? Is there a name? And mind you, a lot of people want to say, oh, now Democrats care about this, blah, 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 blah. Well, you've been pushing this whole Jeffrey Epstein thing this whole time. And now y'all don't care about it? What happened to the children? That was your platform, right? We care about the children. Okay. I care about children too. So let's go ahead and release some files. And mind you, when he got in office, he shouldn't have even released the little files that they did. Remember, they did that whole thing when they invited all these influencers and they had those white binders talking about the Epstein files. Come to find out that was shit that was already released. Yeah, they did that whole spectacle. And then when they were called out on it, they were like, oh, there's more information. We're just waiting on it. And now all of a sudden, Trump goes like, Jeffrey, why are we talking about Jeffrey Epstein? Are we still talking about him? Why don't you want to talk about him no more? Hold on. Let me play that one for y'all. Since y'all like to pick and choose what information y'all like to, retain. Oh, I didn't mean to turn off my camera. Hold on. Here we go. Yeah, let's pull up this one right here. All right. Y'all ready?
Trump is defending U.S. Attorney General Pam Bondi over her refusal to release documents from the Jeffrey Epstein sex trafficking investigation. Critics say the move is part of a government cover-up. ABC's Andrew Dimbert has the latest.
This morning, the Trump administration pushing back against calls to fire Attorney General Pam Bondi over her handling of the Jeffrey Epstein files.
Are you still talking about Jeffrey Epstein? This guy's been talked about for years.
A Justice Department report this week revealed the accused sex trafficker did not keep a secret so-called client list, seemingly contradicting Bondi's statement earlier this year that she had Epstein's list in her office.
It's sitting on my desk right now to review.
Bondi now clarifying that statement, saying she was taken out of context.
My response was, it's sitting on my desk to be reviewed, meaning the file along with the JFK, MLK files as well.
The Justice Department report also confirming Epstein died by suicide.
Don't forget, Pam Bondi was Donald Trump's lawyer. She was one of the lawyers during the whole election thing. That was one of his lawyers. So her loyalty is to him.
Investigators saying the conclusion that Epstein died by suicide is further supported by video footage from where Epstein was housed. But some critics raising questions about that footage, pointing to a jump in the timestamp from 11:58:59 to midnight. Bondi, when asked about the missing minute, said the videotape glitch happens every night and is not a sign of tampering. Still, some Trump loyalists not happy with these explanations.
The only other explanation that I can think of, again, maybe you've got another, is that intel services are at the very center of this story.
Elon Musk also critical, posting, how can people be expected to have faith in Trump if he won't release the Epstein files?
And you know what the crazy part is? You can tell Elon is... Don't forget, he owns Twitter, right? So with that being said, I bet you anything, they make sure that all the Epstein stuff is pushed up the algorithm. So they make sure when you're on X, Twitter, whatever you want to call it, you're going to have to see something about the Epstein files. No matter what you're looking at, you're going to see something about the Epstein files because this man and Elon, it already was exposed that he does manipulate the algorithm in his favor. So just imagine now that he doesn't like Trump, he's making sure that the Epstein files is always a conversation on Twitter all the time. Because granted, let's not forget, Elon Musk has a picture with Ghislaine as well too. Ghislaine and Musk, they're in a picture together as well. I don't think I still have it on. No, I don't have the image anymore. But they have a picture together too. But I guess Elon is like, hey, I just took a picture. I wasn't, doing X, Y, and Z, going to the island, flying on the plane, trading girlfriends and shit like that. All the freaky shit that Trump liked to do, allegedly.
President Trump yesterday dismissing the speculation.
We have Texas, we have this, we have all of the things. And are people still talking about this guy, this creep?
Elon Musk, during a previous feud with Trump, claimed the president was listed in the Epstein files, but Musk later deleted that post. Andrew Dimbert, ABC News, New York.
Attorney who represents several victims of Jeffrey Epstein.
Okay. So let's stop that one. And then we are going to go to
on the left, which is unlike anything I've ever heard from the Democratic Party in my life. The Epstein thing, I think that this is a hoisted on your own petard. I don't think it's a big value situation because I never believed any of the conspiratorial talk. But the president is not well served by the people around him on this one. I don't think he really cares about Epstein one way or the other, and I don't believe there's anything in the files that kills him. But the people around him botched this bill because they fed all these people this conspiracy fodder about this, and then Bondi 1 minute says it's on her desk, the next minute there's nothing to it. Kash Patel and Bongino, who made such a market in the conspiracy, all of a sudden say it's not true. It's a terrible look for the administration. What's your take?
Well, I think President Trump could correct it anytime he wants to correct it. And that's the question is, I don't know why he doesn't. So all you got to do is say to the Attorney General, you're going to hold a press conference. You're going to tell him generally what we've learned about the Epstein.
Right. The Cuomos, yeah, they're a corrupt family as well, too. I used to like Andrew Cuomo, too, but well, not Andrew Cuomo, Chris Cuomo right here on the screen. But since he's been out on his own on News Nation, I was like, oh, you're a cunt. And I don't like using that word, but I feel like because he's a man, I can go ahead and use that word. Chris Cuomo is a cunt.
Case in a very methodical way.
Excuse my language.
You'll answer some questions. You're not to mention any names because that could destroy people. I talked to President Trump man to man, eye to eye on St. Patrick's Day about this and the Kennedy files and the King files. It was all one conversation. And he said, and I agree, there are a lot of names associated with Epstein that had nothing to do with Epstein's conduct. They maybe had lunch with him or maybe had some correspondence for one thing or another. If that name gets out, those people are destroyed because there's not going to be any context. Media doesn't care about context. So you can't do that. You can't destroy human beings by putting out the files, whatever they may be. But you certainly can have Attorney General Bondi say, this is what we know. And, you know, we're going to protect the innocent. And he's a heinous individual. In that press conference, sitting next to Pam Bondi, should be Merrick Garland, the Attorney General and Joe Biden, who had this material for 4 years. 4 years.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Biden had it. Yeah, you don't hear
So
that
now
from the left, do you?
So now we put it on Biden. Why didn't Biden release it? Well, that wasn't his platform. Like, he didn't say, I'm going to release the files. And like I said, Epstein died in 2019. This could have already been something already settled while Trump was in office. Because Trump also had 19. He had 2020. So, you know, all this, oh, well, why didn't Biden do it while he was in office? He never said that he was going to release the files. He didn't run on that. Trump literally ran on releasing the files. Mind you, the reason why MAGA and stuff like that is so big is because they speak to that dark side of the internet that's all about conspiracy theories. They speak to that. And let's be honest, a lot of it is in the celebrity politics, you know, this whole conspiracy. Nobody wants the truth anymore. They just want a whole bunch of conspiracies. So Trump fed into that. This is why his base is so massive. Not that they necessarily care about politics or anything like that, because they can't tell you shit about policy. However, they are big in the conspiracies. So Trump feeds into that. And now for the first time, he's backing up like, oh, I don't know anything. Oh, he's all confused. Oh, you're confused now why people care about this? Wow. And then you got Bill O'Reilly, who's irrelevant, trying to defend Trump and then blame it on the Democrats. That's always a, well, what about the Democrats? Listen, the Democrats suck. They're not even in power anymore. Hakeem Jeffries over there taking Photoshop pictures in Brooklyn, and he wasn't even in Brooklyn. It was Photoshop. What's his name? Chuck Schumer is writing letters and notes to the president. These strong letters or strong emails. Oh my God. The Democrats is really like your favorite sports team that always loses. You know they suck, but you still root for them. Yeah, that's the Democrats. But again, Democrats aren't in power, so why are we talking about them right now? Oh, play.
No.
No, listen,
no,
well,
Now-
what you do here, which I agree with, is if Merrick Garland had stuff on Trump that's in there, he would have given it to him. Now, I have to say
would've
something.
been
There's a
out.
point of clarification. Oh, 100%. But there's a point of clarification here. People are going to hear your explanation, and they may think, oh, yeah, he wants to protect all his buddies because they were scumbags who were in the... No, that's not the point. It's the opposite point. I don't believe there is a client list. I think Bondi made a mistake when she suggested they had a client list. I don't think Epstein had anything like that. I think they have videos where he is doing disgusting things with people, but they're none of the people that people are headhunting for.
Listen, because Pam Bondi also brought up like, oh, there's CP. We would never release child, stuff. No one's asking to watch him with a mind. Like, nobody's asking for that. We want to know who went, who was there, who were the people involved. That's what we want to know. We don't want to watch the tapes. Like, are you guys sick? We're not asking for that.
And the other point is something that people will never give the president credit for, maybe me among them. But there is no client list. And if you put people's names out, they are going to sue the government and they are going to win because they are going to show that the government had reason to know that there was nothing felonious in their relationship with Epstein. And they put out information that was defamatory anyway. And that's the reason not to do it. You're going to ruin people's lives who had nothing to do with the behavior.
Well,
but when people hear it, it sounds like a cover-up.
But here's the thing. When has Trump ever been worried about destroying somebody's life? When has he ever been like, oh my God, I don't want to destroy this person's life? What's in it for him that he's protecting? Why would Trump be trying to protect anybody? Who is Trump trying to protect, you guys? Let me just put up the picture real quick. But who is Trump trying to protect? Let's do a 30-second countdown. Who is Trump trying to protect? 30 seconds. All right. Himself was the right answer, by the way. The exonerated five, he did not care about them. Now all of a sudden he cares. And and I know a lot of people are talking about Israel, like he's trying to protect Israel. And listen, that could be a thing. I don't know anything about that. I can't speak to that. But more than likely, he's trying to protect himself. Because I don't even think he cares about Israel that much to try to protect them. But hey, all right, let's go ahead. I'm finished with this clip. Let's go to the next. So we're going to talk about Dan Bongino. He's the deputy. He's the deputy FBI director. So he's second in command under Kash Patel with the cockfighting one. He's second in command to him. And so Dan Bongino, he's basically an internet conspiracy theorist. He's a right winger with a podcast, and he was one of the main ones pushing for the Epstein files to be released. And now he's all like, oh, Epstein, killed himself. There's nothing else. But it's rumored that he might be quitting or getting fired. So let's go ahead and watch this report. Hold on. Let me bring it up. Let me blow it up. I'm sorry. All right. And make sure you guys are hitting that like button. Double tap the screen, you guys. Double tap the screen. That's how you hit the like button, or hit the 3 dots on top. All right, let's get it.
This breaking news. Sources tell CNN that Deputy FBI Director Dan Bongino has told people that he's considering resigning amid a major clash between the FBI and DOJ over the continued fallout from the release, or lack thereof, of the Jeffrey Epstein memo. Joining us right now in files, joining us right now on the phone is CNN anchor and chief White House correspondent Caitlin Collins. Caitlin, what more are you learning?
Yeah, Fred, it remains to be seen if he actually follows through with what he has told colleagues. But what we do know is that Dan Bongino has told people he is considering resigning as the deputy director of the FBI over the fallout that has continued ever since this memo was released last Sunday. The anger inside the MAGA base has only continued to grow instead of going away, as some officials inside hoped it would. And now,
just imagine you make your whole personality about draining the swamp, exposing the elites, and then once you get that position and you're in the job, you realize, oh shit, everything I thought it was not. I've been lied to. That's what Dan is going through right now. He's been lied to. He thought he was going to come in there, release all the files. And no, it don't work like that. It don't. And then especially imagine if Dan has found out Trump is in these files. Everything you once believed about Trump, and mind you, these people knew who Trump was. They knew who he was. They're not shocked. They're not surprised. They just didn't care. Because at the end of the day, it's all about having power. It's all about having power, which essentially translate into having money. That's all they cared about. They never cared about truth. They never cared about justice. And now they're being tested right now because it's all like, do you either stand for the truth or are you a part of the problem?
Now our colleagues, along with Christian Holmes, Tanner Benowitz, and Evan Perez, were hearing that he's considering resigning after they had this heated confrontation with the Attorney General Pam Bondi over the handling of this earlier this week. And basically there was a meeting at the White House where the FBI Director, Kash Patel, was there, the White House Chief of Staff, Susie Wiles. They were questioned about whether they were part of a story, that there was basically some infighting over how this came out, and this memo that said we're not going to be releasing any more information related to Jeffrey Epstein. And I should note that we are told Bongino denied leaking any story to this outlet that it was reported on. But there has been a lot of fighting between Attorney General Pam Bondi specifically and the leadership over at the FBI over who's to blame in this situation. I think the context here is obviously Dan Bongino, Kash Patel. They came from this MAGA world where they themselves had pushed a lot of questions about the so-called client list that Epstein had beforehand. And now the MAGA base is just not pleased or satisfied with what they've.
To go with Shawnee's comment, I'm thinking that there is going to be something that happens in the next few days to distract everybody. Trump is going to pull something out of his hat to distract everybody. I totally agree with you. Something's coming. Something is coming.
Said in this memo that came out unsigned from the Justice Department and the FBI on Sunday night. So what we are told is Dan Bongino did not show up to work today, that he is essentially not there out of protest. But whether or not he actually follows through on this still remains to be seen. We're still reporting that out. But it just speaks to the backlash that the White House is very much feeling and understanding after this memo came out, despite President Trump the other day in the cabinet room asking, who still cares about this? One thing we know is the MAGA base certainly does.
All right, Caitlin Collins, thanks so much for that. We'll check back with you.
So I'm going to go ahead and stop that. And then I'm going to go ahead and pull this one up right here. Oh, no, not that one. Here we go. So we can see the compare and contrast. Y'all ready?
The Jeffrey Epstein story is a big deal. Please do not let that story go. Keep your eye on this. How is it that all these people, the CIA director, the Obama fixer, Bill Clinton, all intersected paths with Jeffrey Epstein? Jeffrey Epstein isn't with us anymore, and nobody seems to want to talk about it.
He killed himself.
See how that transition? He killed himself.
You want me to get? I've seen the whole file.
Bad news, guys. Looks like Dan Bongino and Kash Patel are officially part of the deep state. What are we going to do about that? I'm not sure. I'm Mediaite founding editor Colby Hall, and I'm joined by Mediaite editor-in-chief Aidan McLaughlin. Aidan, how are you?
Okay, so I just wanted you guys to see that part real quick. But yeah, notice how that quick change, like all of a sudden, oh no, he killed himself. That's it. It's nothing to see here, you guys. Their whole careers before they got into government have been about exposing the elites, getting the Jeffrey Epstein files. And now all of a sudden, y'all don't want to do anything about it? Y'all don't care? Y'all don't care no more? Like, we're just supposed to let it go? Just wash our hands with it? Like, this is what y'all have been concerned with this whole time. And now y'all don't care. And mind you, they're in the positions to release the information, to give out the stuff. They're in these positions. It's not like, you know, they're a Secretary of State or something like that. No. They're in the positions that could release the files. The FBI, DOJ. Who are they protecting? And again, people want to run around Bill Clinton, Obama, Joe Biden. Okay, Bill Gates. Throw all those names out there. I don't mind when you throw those names out there, but who are they really protecting? You know? Hello? Who they really protected? Who's this man right here, y'all? I don't know. Who's this man? Y'all see this? And now knowing that he wanted to possibly pardon Ghislaine, he wanted to pardon Ghislaine, and she's the madam. She's the one who helped facilitate all this with Jeffrey Epstein, and he wanted to pardon her. And now we don't know who he's trying to protect. Like what? Huh? And these Republicans can't figure it out. They don't know why he wants to protect these people. Why Trump doesn't care about it all of a sudden? Huh? What? Huh? Yeah. And you know, and I'm happy that things are being exposed because, again, this is what people wanted. This is what you voted for. And then this is what you get, right? I think all in all, people need to really look into things and really educate themselves and really know what they're voting for. Because, again, you love the smoke and mirrors. You love people that make you just feel good or make you feel a certain kind of way. But you don't really care about America. Because if you did, we wouldn't be in this fucked up situation right now. Please hit that like button, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. I love y'all for being here, but we out. Deuces, everybody.